Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Unman Paracharya. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. 2 Iranian soldiers killed in Israel's retaliatory airstrikes on Tehran. Iran vows retaliation. Beyonce lends her star power to Kamala Harris at a high-octane rally in her native Texas. Calls on Americans to sing a new song. India slams Pakistan at the United Nations over deplorable condition of its women from minority communities. First up, news from West Asia, where tensions have escalated following Israel's retaliatory airstrikes against Iran. Israel's defense forces has said it had completed its retaliatory strike on Iran hours after conducting precise strikes on military targets in Iran early on Saturday. The IDF said that the strikes were in response to Tehran's continuous attacks on Israel since 7th October 2023, asserting that the country has the right and the duty to respond.
We have concluded the Israeli response to Iran's attack against Israel. We conducted targeted and precise strikes on military targets in Iran, thwarting immediate threats to the state of Israel. The Israel Defense Forces has fulfilled its mission. If the regime in Iran were to make the mistake of beginning a new round of escalation, we will be obligated to respond. Our message is clear. All those who threaten the state of Israel and seek to drag the region into wider escalation will pay a heavy price.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was also following the attack on Iran from the Operation Room at the Israel's Defense Ministry in Tel Aviv. Netanyahu was accompanied with Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant and Israel's military chief Herzi Halevi. Meanwhile, Iranian media reported several explosions in Tehran and nearby military bases. Iran said its air defense system successfully countered Israel's attacks, but 2 soldiers were killed and some locations suffered what it called limited damage. The United States has denied any involvement in strikes on Iran. A U.S. official said that the United States was notified by Israel ahead of its strikes, but was not involved in the operation, adding that the attacks were an exercise in self-defense. White House National Security Council spokesman Sean Savit urged Iran to cease its attacks on Israel, breaking the cycle of fighting to avert any further escalation. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer also urged Iran not to respond to Israeli strikes, urging all sides to show restraint.
I am clear that Israel has the right to defend itself against Iranian aggression. I'm equally clear that we need to avoid further regional escalation and urge all sides to show restraint. Iran should not respond. The most important thing here is de-escalation. And yes, we've been calling for that for some time. As you know, I made a call myself to the President of Iran and have repeatedly had discussions with others in the region, including, of course, the Prime Minister of Israel.
On to the U.S. presidential elections now. Superstar singer Beyonce took the stage at a rally for Kamala Harris in Houston on Friday. Beyonce walked on stage addressing the crowd of some 30,000 attending Vice President Harris's abortion rights themed rally.
Of the United States. I'm not here as a celebrity. I'm not here as a politician. I'm here as a mother. A mother who cares deeply about the world my children and all of our children live in. A world where we have the freedom to control our bodies, A world where we're not divided.
With just a few days to go until polls open for the U.S. presidential election, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris and presidential candidate of the Republican Party Donald Trump are ramping up their efforts to secure votes in 7 battleground states. DD India correspondent Amritpal Singh reports from Houston in Texas.
Donald Trump is increasingly unhinged and unstable.
Kamala Harris once again calling out Donald Trump for becoming increasingly deranged. She held her first joint campaign rally with Barack Obama and Bruce Springsteen in Atlanta. Donald Trump has called her a threat to democracy.
She's a threat to democracy because she shouldn't even be the candidate.
The political narrative as sharply divided as the American society polarized.
As far as I'm concerned, there's only one issue, and it's to get rid of Donald Trump. I feel he is the most destructive force on this planet at this time. Giving him the nuclear codes would be the biggest mistake U.S. ever made.
She's not answered a single question. In fact, she runs from every question she's ever asked. So she'd be terrible. How could she stand up against Putin if she can't even stand up against a reporter that's on her side?
The key issue to me is ensuring that Donald Trump not take office. I'm extremely concerned about his fascist tendencies, and I think we have to do everything we can as a nation to uphold democracy and defeat him.
While American society may seem divided right from the middle this time around, most American states have traditionally voted on predicted lines. The terms red state and blue state refer to U.S. states whose voters vote predominantly for one party, the Republican Party in the red states and the Democratic Party in blue states, in presidential and other statewide elections. By contrast, states where the vote fluctuates between Democratic and Republican candidates are known as swing states or purple states. In these elections, there are 7 states that are swing or battleground states, which includes the states of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. And understandably, both candidates are focusing their energies campaigning in these states, making a last-lap bid to woo the undecided voter. But is it cutting ice with them?
What are they going to do for the people when they get into office? All the claims that they make, I want to make sure that they come through with the claims. You know, Trump says he can do X, Y, Z, then doesn't do nothing.
Well, I'm not too sure about what I'm going to decide, but everything's too expensive.
Then there is the issue that is America ready for a woman president, and a colored one at that?
If there's any time that a woman's going to take over the White House and represent us worldwide, it's now.
While issues like cost of living, economy, jobs, women's rights, abortion, etc. do matter to people, but it's often seen that on the voting day, most Americans cast their vote based on partisan loyalties. And that is why you see the states that have been red or blue continue to remain so. In such a scenario, when the race is so tight, it is really the undecided voter, especially the purple states, which could swing either way, that could decide who will sit in the Oval Office for the next 4 years. With cameraman Sanjay Jaina, this is Amritpal Singh for DD India in Houston, Texas.
So battleground states will play a decisive role as Donald Trump and Kamala Harris fight it out in the final days of the U.S. presidential polls. What do the youth of America think about these elections and the road ahead? My colleague Shubhendu Ghosh meets some bright young students in the University of Miami to document their perspective.
U.S. elections are in their final stages before the big day of November 5th, Election Day. I have with me some young people from University of Miami, students, thinkers, and I'm here to get their perspective on how does the youth look at these elections. Will and his friends are all here. First, I'd like to learn from each one of you. As young people, what are the issues at the heart of these elections? What do you expect from the new government?
I think at the heart of this election, one of the primary issues is the affordability of housing. I think it's an issue that affects Gen Z the most, and I assume that all of us here are in Gen Z, so I want to see that definitely be focused on in the next administration. The southern border is definitely a problem as well. I wish to see that there's more security on the border.
For me, this election, I am concerned about the access to reproductive health care, especially here in the state of Florida, which is a banned state, currently under a 6-week ban. I am concerned about decriminalization of drug use as well. I'm worried about the housing crisis because there is a criminalization of houselessness, especially here in Miami-Dade County. And I'm also worried about our education.
I think what defines this election for me is issues related to gender, women's rights, access to reproductive health care, especially in Florida, which was a hub after the overturn of Roe v. Wade for many Southern women.
I agree with much of what they have already said, but another issue that I've noticed is a lot of America feels largely divided between a certain party and like a certain candidate, and like they feel attached to either side. And personally, I would like to see a more calm environment where people are just generally more friendly within politics.
Basically, I really agree with what many of them are saying about housing and also with women reproductive rights. And overall, I think that politicians need to think about what younger people really want. I feel like they don't really listen to us.
Right, so those were some great ideas that we got. Next, let's also find out what and where would you like to see America in the next 4 years. These elections, they say, are going to determine the future course. Your opinion on where America could be in the next 4 years. Paul?
As an American, I almost feel embarrassed when I see our politicians name-calling each other. And in the next 4 years, I would hope to, rather than seeing most people be proud of their party or over a certain candidate, to just be proud of America as one country.
For me personally, I would like to see in 4 years a America that is more diverse and has representatives that look more like me, that are around my age, rather than people who only care about corporations that are filling their pockets.
I want to see accountability. I want to see accountability and action taken in response to the multiple genocides across our world, in response to the state-sanctioned violence against Black and brown people, and as well here in the state of Florida, as we have seen natural disasters. I want to see our community showing up.
In 4 years, I'd like to see an America that has a citizenship that definitely keeps its government accountable, especially for its actions overseas in regards to funding Israel in their campaign in Palestine. Is something that I personally don't believe in. I want to see safer cities and overall a country that just puts American citizens first before the interests of others.
I want to see action on promises. There's a lot of things that a lot of politicians would say that will pull in a lot of not just students, a lot of people around the world in the country, and then they don't act upon it. So I would like to see action.
Thank you, each one of you, for joining us for this conversation. Great food for thought. American students talking about how they would like to see America in the days and years ahead. And I hope the leaders are listening. With camera person Jaishankar, Shubhendu Ghosh for DD India in Miami.
Still to come on this edition of DD India Live, Commonwealth leaders say time has come for discussion on slavery reparations. Georgia, a country with a population of around 3 million people, nestled between Russia and Turkey, holds its parliamentary election. And New Zealand beat India by 113 runs to win series 2-0. Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live with me, Munman Bhattacharya. Georgia polls opened on Saturday in an election that could determine the country's future in Europe. Some 3.5 million Georgians are eligible to cast their ballots. They will choose from 18 political parties, including Georgian Dream Party and 4 major opposition political forces, that is 3 coalitions and 1 party, seeking to challenge its 12-year rule. The ruling Georgian Dream Party favors closer economic cooperation with Russia, while the pro-Western opposition wants to take the country towards EU membership. The 56-member Commonwealth agreed that time has come for discussions about the legacy of the abhorrent transatlantic slave trade in a landmark statement that raises the prospect of future reparations. The joint statement also made a reference to concern about the severe consequences of the climate crisis, including rising temperatures and sea levels. More than half of the Commonwealth's members are small nations, many of them low-lying islands at risk from rising sea levels caused by climate change. Representatives of 56 countries in this group are attending the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting.
As a result, heads noting the calls for a discussion on reparatory justice with regard to the transatlantic slave trade, the trade in enslaved Africans and chattel enslavement, and recognizing the importance of this matter to members of the Commonwealth, the majority of which share common historical experiences in relation to this abhorrent trade, chattel enslavement, the debilitation and dispossession of indigenous people, indentureship, colonialism, blackbirding and their enduring effects, agreed that the time has come for a meaningful, truthful and respectful conversation towards forging a common future based on equity.
India slammed Pakistan for raising the Kashmir issue at a United Nations Security Council debate, calling it a mischievous provocation based on their tested tactic of spreading misinformation. India, at the same time, thanked Switzerland for convening the crucial debate on women building peace in a changing environment. Exercising its right to reply during a UNSC debate, India called out Islamabad over the deplorable condition of women from minority communities in Pakistan. Addressing the UN Security Council debate, India's permanent representative to the United Nations in New York, P. Harish, also spoke about the honors received by Indian women peacekeepers serving in different parts of the world.
It is despicable yet entirely predictable that one delegation has chosen to indulge in mischievous provocation based on their tried and tested tactic of spreading misinformation and disinformation. It's completely misplaced to indulge in such political propaganda at this important annual debate. We are well aware that the condition of women belonging to minority communities, notably Hindus, Sikhs and Christians, in that country remains deplorable. An estimated 1,000 women of these minority communities, as per data of the Human Rights Commission of that particular country, are subject to abduction, forced religious conversions, and forced marriages every year.
German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, who is visiting India, interacted with college students in the coastal Indian state of Goa on the last day of his official visit on Saturday. Scholz, who arrived in India on Thursday, attended an interactive session with students of Birla Institute of Technology and Science. He highlighted the future prospects of India-Germany partnership and said renewable energies, security and technology are key sectors of growth for both the nations. The German Chancellor visited a tech exhibition organized by students before talking with them in a brief session. The German frigate Baden-Württemberg and the supply ship Frankfurt am Main made port call at Marmugao port in the southern Indian state of Goa on Saturday. They have been carrying out a defense policy circumnavigation of the world since May as part of the German mission in the Indo-Pacific region, IDP-24. The Consulate General German in Mumbai, Achim Fabik, received by Risch from German frigate Baden-Württemberg upon its arrival at Marmugao port. General Helge Risch of the German Navy expressed his pleasure in visiting India as part of their Indo-Pacific deployment. He emphasized the importance of India as the largest democracy and a key partner in the region.
Very, very happy to be here in India, because we consider India of one of our, I mean, it's the biggest democracy in the world and one of our good partners in the region, and I think for the upcoming future, even more important partner in the region.
India's seventh anti-submarine warfare shallow water craft, Abhay, built by Garden Reach shipbuilders and engineers for the Indian Navy, was launched at Larsen & Toubro at Kattupalli in Chennai. The vessel, 7.6 meters in length and equipped with advanced underwater sensors, will bolster India's anti-submarine capabilities. Launched by Mrs. Sandhya Pendharkar, President of the Navy Welfare and Wellness Association, Abhay exemplifies India's Atmanirbhar Bharat or Self-Reliant India mission with over 80% indigenous content, driving domestic defense production, employment and skill development in shipbuilding. India's President Draupadi Murmu is on a two-day visit to Chhattisgarh. President Murmu on Saturday attended the third convocation of Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay Memorial Health Science and Ayush University of Chhattisgarh. Earlier, the President visited Lord Jagannath Temple in Raipur, Chhattisgarh. She was accompanied by Governor Ramin Deka and Chief Minister Vishnu Deosai and offered prayers for the country's well-being and prosperity at the renowned temple. Following her temple visit, Murmu attended convocation ceremonies at IIT Bhilai and Pandit Deen Dayal Memorial Health Science and Ayush University. There has been a cumulative 74.2% decline in income disparity coverage in India for those earning up to 5 lakh rupees annually between the fiscal years 2013-14 and 2022-23 as per an SBI report on Friday. The report is titled How Tax Simplification has given in fact a necessary fillip to ITR filing, and it says that the share in income disparity has reduced from 31.8% in financial year 2013-14 to 12.8% in the financial year 2020-21 for people with income up to 3.5 lakh rupees. It signifies a share of this bucket group has increased by a sharp 19% income in comparison to their population. The report also added that the lower income group, which is earning less than 5.5 lakh rupees, has registered a positive growth rate for all years in the last decade, except for the decade when the COVID-19 pandemic was there. New Zealand scripted history as they defeated India by 113 runs in the second test on Saturday to clinch their first ever series win on the Indian soil. Mitchell Santner took 6 wickets as the hosts were bowled out for 245 by the visitors in their chase of 359 on the third day of the match in Pune. Player of the match, Santner, ended with a match haul of 13 wickets to set up New Zealand's 2-0 win in the 3-match series. Earlier, Kiwis won the first test in Bangalore. Also, India suffered the first test series loss at home in 12 years. Their 18 series wicket streak at home has ended. The third and final test will begin in Mumbai on the 1st of November. Pakistan defeated England in the Rawalpindi Test to secure a memorable 2-1 series victory on Saturday. Spinners Noman Ali and Sajid Khan combined to bowl Pakistan to a comprehensive 9-wicket victory in the deciding third Test. Pakistan had been on the ascendancy since claiming a handy first innings lead of 77 on a track where spinners from both sides dominated. Noman with 6 wickets and Sajid with 4 bundled out England for a paltry 112 in its second innings to leave Pakistan needing only 36 to win the series. Noman and Sajid claimed 19 of the 20 England wickets, and while Pakistan did not use its lone seamer Amir Jamal at all in the match, the duo claimed 39 of the 40 English wickets in the last 2 tests since their mid-series selection after facing the worst defeat in the first test. The Indian men's junior team clinched the bronze medal at the Sultan Johor Cup as they beat New Zealand 3-2 in the penalty shootout after the game ended in a 2-all stalemate. Dilraj Singh opened the scoring for India while Manmeet Singh doubled the lead in the 20th minute. India stayed in control of the game but could not score another goal. New Zealand took advantage of this and rallied in the final quarter, with Owen Brown scoring in the 51st minute and Jonty Elmis scoring the equalizer 6 minutes later. The game went into a tense shootout, which was won by India 3-2 thanks to successful shots by Gurjot, Manmeet and Saurabh Anand and brilliant saves by keeper Bikramjeet Singh. That's all in this edition of DD India Live, but do share your thoughts with us on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. This is Mimran Bhattacharya signing off from the New Delhi studios. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.